Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Monday. It's our Independence Day. I just recently launched a podcast episode all about independence and how, although we can gain independence as a group, independence as an individual is really something that we can't have. We can't just go around having independence as an individual. And I think that um, because of that, you cannot be independent of everything. You cannot be independent of, even if you are financially independent, that depends on the fact that, what if the dollar value of the finances that you hold all crashed? Well, you're dependent on that. There's so much dependence going on in the world, and that's why we have the Tao. The Tao helps us understand how to live a more reasonable life, how to live more in line with the things around us and the things that we love. Um, so it is very important for us to understand that although, yes, as a group, we can be independent, but as an individual, we want to be individuals, not independent. We don't want to focus our lives on what it means to be and what it looks like to be independent, because we're really not. We'd be lying to ourselves if we thought that we were just independent, but we're not. Okay, so if anybody wants to step up and pick a number between 1 and 81, this is Tao of the Day. In the Tao Te Ching, I ask you to pick a number from one of the chapters of the Tao, and when we read that, we will go through it line by line. I'll ask you how you feel about it as a whole. We'll talk about what the Tao has to offer you as an individual who is living in a world with other people. This is the thing. You are dependent. Your life is dependent on other people. Your life is dependent. Like, without other people, your life doesn't have any meaning. Your life doesn't do anything without the earth, without the air, without the water, without the land. You are in the void, and you're you're out. Like, imagine if you had nothing but your body. Lois is going to join me, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Tao. We're going to switch over to a different translation because Lois and I, we're old hats at this. Lois, girl, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing, Marjan?
I,
I been getting up in the morning because I've been told to break routine. I think I told you that last time I talked to you.
yeah, breaking routine is amazing. I we've had some history of addiction and stuff, and when we break routine, we just can see how something has affected us. It's
Yeah.
just like, oh wait, maybe it's all right for me to do that, and then you get back to it, or maybe you shift it a little bit. Like for me, I used to wake up, journal, meditate, exercise.
Uh-huh.
Now I wake up, meditate, might move a little bit, journal later on in the day. I'll do, and so, I've been changing it up, but I found that I really like to wake up, journal, exercise, meditate. Like I love getting them all in, but I got to make sure that I'm changing it up sometimes, because when I wake up at 4 in the morning every day, that's just like, sometimes that's not healthy, just sticking by one simple thing.
Well, that me because I'm on the West Coast, so
Yeah.
I was at 3:30, 4:30 every morning doing my little routine I do, and God just told me to break routine, and
Mm-hmm.
because I was finding myself tired earlier when everybody else is like, "Hey," and I'm like, "It's time to go to bed." I don't know what y'all talking
I know.
about, okay? Because my day started at 3:34 in the morning. So
That's
now
right.
I'm trying to get it to start more 6. I mean, I wake up. I'll still wake up at that time. If
Mm-hmm.
something tells me to get up, if the spirit tells me to get up, I'll get up. If it tells me to rest, I'll still lay there and rest and wait. He'll wake me back up at 6:30. I do my little energy work, my little meditation, and take my vitamins, and then I'd walk my dog. That's what I was getting ready to do right now. Walk my dog
Mm.
because I got to beat the heat. I'm in Vegas.
Yeah.
And today it's gonna
How
be
hot's it getting
104.
out that way now?
It's gonna be 104 today.
104, but that's a dry heat.
That's dry. It's dry heat, but it's still heat nonetheless. And the thing
I hear
is
you.
that um, and last month, the morning, by this time, by 7 o'clock, it was like 100 degrees. Like right now,
Mm,
like
mm,
so, I got a reprieve because
yeah,
I was having to get up way early and still walking in that 99-degree stuff, and
yeah.
that's not fun for me because I don't get to walk as long as I would like to. One, because it's just too damn hot, and whatever. But and so I'm getting ready for my birthday this week.
Whoa,
So
whoa, whoa, when's your birthday?
July 8th.
July 8th. So you and I, we're cancers. I just had my birthday on Thursday.
I know. I saw you. Happy
Saw
birthday.
that. So
Oh
I'm
my God.
making a note. I'm making
Most
a
of the
note.
they're making a note. Oh, most of the
July
people
8th?
that I met recently in person and on here have, well, not most of them, a lot, major of say 50% have birthdays in June, July. I mean,
Oh,
like
yeah.
early cancers and all the way to late cancers. So I'm thinking, okay, oh, she a cancer too. Oh, he a cancer too. Oh, she.
We're the
And
female, man.
yeah, so I'm like, oh, that's probably why I had that home sense. I don't know, have
It
no
may
idea.
be. Don't
But
know. Like, I
I
know.
don't, I don't really have a number for today. I just hadn't talked to you.
Yeah, it has been a minute. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and read one anyway,
Okay,
and, and we're just gonna look at it. I'm gonna see, maybe. Whoa, I picked a long one, so
okay.
wasn't my expectation, but here it is. It's easy to maintain balance. Trouble can be nipped in the bud. Fragile things break easy, and small things are easy to lose. Deal with the situation before it comes a problem. Keep everything straight so it can't get messed up. Every tree was once a seed, every skyscraper started out as a shovelful of dirt. And stop me if you've heard this one, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
I love that part. I've heard that part so many
Hmm. When you try too hard, you defeat your own purpose.
times.
Cling to stuff, and you will suffer loss. The master makes no effort, so they never fail. They aren't attached to things, so they never feel loss. People often screw up when the job's nearly done. Pay as much attention to the finishing touches as you do to the initial steps, and you won't screw up like that. The masters try to be free from desire. They don't collect precious things, they don't cling to any beliefs. They pay attention to what everybody else ignores, and they help the world get right with Tao. But don't try to cling to things.
All right, that's just like it. This is it's kind of like a summary of what I've just been going through the last couple of weeks when it comes to holding on and watching my trying to maintain vibration when I'm having to learn new things about myself.
Mm,
Or well, not necessarily new things, learning that the shadow self that's inside of me, well, I'm gonna use that because this is what everybody understand, but I call it my Xena warrior princess. It's still in there, and she comes out when she needs to, when she
yeah.
needs to, and this time she doesn't come out in fear. She comes out for defense. And I had, because I had a couple of incidences where I had to bring her up,
Mm-hmm.
and my thing was, am I gonna be able to get my vibration, and I was able to snap right back into that balanced vibration and didn't miss a beat. But I questioned that part, and then I talked to somebody yesterday, I think it was yesterday, and they were saying, that you're mostly, you're all love, you're the love and light, and that's what we hear from you all the time, da, 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 da. But you have to know that in order for you to maintain the balance, your warrior princess, and they said it like that, has to come out sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh, because I was feeling guilty. I'm gonna be real, I was feeling guilty because I made the man tuck his head and tuck it, well, I'll say tuck tail and walk away in shame,
Mm.
because but it was so inappropriate. If Marvin Brown, if a man was with me, they would have had to hit the man because my hand wanted to.
Mm.
And I'm non-violent, but if somebody attacks me, I'm not non-violent. you
Right? No.
know what I'm saying? It's
I was
like,
just talking with Andy about, like, this idea that, what did she say? She was just like, yeah, you know, like you do this, whatever this is,
Mm-hmm.
until you don't. You know, like you do this thing, uh, you know, accept. And it's like, when's the accept? Well, you have to figure that out.
Yeah.
Like, I'm non-violent, except when a bitch is violent. You know,
Okay.
like, and that's all right.
Okay, and that was for me. I don't bother nobody. I ain't never bothered nobody. I was talking to the insurance about it yesterday because it all came to an ebb when I realized what I was being prepared for.
Yes.
I was like, I don't mess with nobody. I ain't never went on no revenge with all the history I got and all the junk that happened to me. I never went for revenge. I never hated nobody or anything like that. But when I did fight, they almost got really hurt really bad. I almost said like this because I did some terrible, I feel like this, and I didn't have to use none but my hands, and some people got really really hurt, and I broke my hand on the last one when I put my hand. But I don't lay hands on nobody personally first. I don't do that kind of stuff, and I don't attack first, and I don't do that. But in protection of myself, in fear, that's how them people almost got hurt. But this wasn't that done in fear. This was done because evidently this, I had to stand up for myself because I was threatened,
Yes.
but it wasn't done out of fear. It was done out of how dare you,
Yeah. That's
you know.
right. You
It
know,
was done,
there's a balance to all of this, and like, you know,
and I
when
didn't know it was there though. Martin John, I had not
yeah,
brought up Xeno Woman Warrior for 20 years. Okay, she
yeah,
came out in full force, did what she had to do, and then put her sword in and went in it and then finished dancing.
that's right.
That was
No,
fun. I was like, wow, what was that? Then I felt bad because the man was shamed, and then somebody said, no, no, he shamed himself when he walked up to you and said that stuff to you, and blah blah.
yeah,
I was like, okay, but I'm not used to losing it. And I felt like I lost it for a moment, but I really didn't because I still had presence of mind. I wasn't in a blind rage. And back in when I would do things before, it was so much anger inside of me. It was a blind rage. And I would come to after I didn't almost destroyed the person.
yeah. You know, it's interesting though when we kind of look at things like that, because like what happens is, you know, I mean, I talked to someone yesterday who has a daughter who's
Mm.
depressed, and I was talking to him about like, all right, well, you gotta make sure that you deal with your depression. Her depression isn't yours to deal with. You know,
Amen.
she's 25 and she's
Mm-hmm.
depressed. I get that. Now, any fear you have of her not being safe is has to do with you not feeling safe with your depression and your shit. You know,
Amen.
and we talked all about this idea that like your experience and their experience, just like your experience with this man and his experience with you, are two totally different things.
Yeah.
You were cool. Like maybe you got a little triggered and then moved and did something, and but he's probably sitting on shit too. So it's like you don't know,
Mm-hmm.
like as long as you are in flow, as long as you are at one with Tao, you know,
Right.
like then you just get in and do what you do. And there is no need to judge it or to look at it in any other way than like, hey, far out, this is what I just did. Let me go dancing. You know?
That's
You
what
know what I
happened too. It was like, what the hell? Where did that come from? I know. I'm gonna be real. I had to go back inside where I was dancing at, go to the bathroom, sit on the throne, and do a little meditation. Cause I
mm,
was like, whoa, dude, where did all that come from?
yeah. And
But
then
it was,
doesn't
but
did
it
you
was necessary. It was honestly, it was necessary because it still didn't hit him strong enough because he went inside and harassed somebody else.
and
So
that's the, you know, and but you did your job and step back.
yes, I
You know,
did.
that's what the Tao says, right? You do your job and step back. And you did that. And then when you did your job, even if that job was, you know, came from a place that, you know, you don't kind of feel like you're aligned with any longer,
Hmm.
like you did your job and then you step back and you said, what I just do? That was fucked up. And that's cool because now you're continuing to learn. And you know, like there is a point in our lives where we do and we don't, like there's two different ways of not thinking about it.
Hmm.
One, we do it and accept that it is of God that it's been done.
And I did, and that's where I had to come to because
Yeah.
one, I feel now, when I think about it, it was a third incident that had happened. So this prior to me getting ready to go to Paris by myself next month. I needed to know that Zena was still in there and that I'm safe and that I
Yeah.
can handle my business, because everything that I learned working in prisons and probation and mental hospitals and taking people down and out
Yeah.
all came to the forefront. I was ready. Okay,
Hmm.
girl was ready. Okay. I ain't gonna say.
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, whoa, Lois, damn. Okay. I had to ask the who, Lois, whoa, what part of that was weird? But it was the fact that I was threatened and I was in public and I had to stand up for myself. And in the back past, I would normally blow it off and look at the person like they crazy, walk away, and then hold it inside, mad, and then talking about how mad I am the next day, and it would let carry on. It's like, how dare they, da da da, but this time it was like, no, I wanted to talk about it because I was like, Xena came out. Wow, I
But
didn't.
that's the thing. Like that's what we're hearing here, right? Like
Uh-huh.
deal with the situation before it becomes a problem,
Yes, and
right?
I even though, like I said, it was it when I look back, when I now I can look at it at 2, 3 weeks later and
Yeah.
recognize the purpose of it, and to recognize that what it was came up to show me, because it was so unexpected. And it taught me something about me, and it taught me that that was part of my staying balanced and maintaining my high vibration. I'm gonna have to go
Mm.
some low sometime to stay high,
That's
because
right.
I need
That's
that
right.
balance.
And
I need
and
that.
and it's not even low and high. Those are definitions. And it's just like you being like
Okay, contrast
sometimes God is gonna tell you to kill somebody.
to rise up. Yeah,
You know what
and
I'm
I
saying?
recognize
Like
that.
God's not sitting here telling you to just take shit,
Okay, and that
you
was
know?
yeah. And I used to just listen, blow it off.
Yeah. That's
Okay,
what
no,
that's what we
blowing
think
that
it
off this
means.
time.
That's what we think it means to be good. Is
Yeah.
to just like blow it off and be nice and be accommodating. But fuck that. Sometimes
Okay.
sometimes you gotta stick a bitch.
Yeah. I like how you say that, but that's what I'm saying. So it's been experiences like that, vibrational, maintaining alignment through the contrast, and looking at what's going on and evaluating and understanding that, yeah, I'm on this journey and I go through stuff, but every like you just once said, every journey the
Oh, you can come back up.
so it's like
Every journey.
every journey with 1,000 mile begin with one step, and it's line upon
That's right.
line, precept upon precept. It's not no mother may I take a giant step. It's not no giant steps. It's one step at a time, precept upon precept. And when I looked at everything, it just like I said, everything that's been going on has been fitting. It's been perfectly fitting to keep me in the right mindset for what I have ahead of me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I got some stuff ahead of me, and I know I do.
Oh yeah, you and their
you
body.
know, but right now I'm being told to relax and rest, and that's what I said. That's why my routine was broken, because I was
And
supposed to be relaxing and resting.
and that's the whole thing. Like, like you don't know why you're relaxing and resting. But
No,
you may very well be dealing with the situation before it becomes a problem,
exactly.
right?
That's why I said this fits, because it's like I'm being prepared for something.
Yeah.
And I can feel the preparation, because I can feel the flexing. I can feel it in my physical body, I can feel it in my spiritual body, and I can feel it in my mental body. And I'm not questioning. Oh, what's this for? What's that? No, I'm
That's
just
right.
okay,
No, you
God. I'm
stop.
just
Yeah.
gonna allow you to
You
do
know,
these changes in me,
that's
and
right.
because I've had dreams to correlate with some of these changes and the vibrational moves that I'm growing into,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh my gosh, I had to talk to you on the back end about that, because I thought that was some strange shit. But yeah, so I'm just being prepared for what's be ahead, and I'm allowing myself to be prepared by not staying stuck in that, oh my God, I lost my temper. Oh my God.
That's
No.
right. Well, and
No, I
that's,
lost it for a
at
reason.
the end of this, it says masters try to be free from desire.
Hmm.
They don't collect precious things. That's one thing. But they don't cling to beliefs. The precious things is like your jacket that lady took.
Yes. Okay.
and then so you don't cling to that, you don't try and collect that, and then you don't cling to any beliefs. The belief that you're supposed to wake up at a certain time, the belief that this is who Lois is,
The
this
schedule,
is
or
who
that
Lois is,
schedule thing
right,
that
on that
got
schedule.
it.
This
Yeah.
Lois is someone who doesn't fly off the handle. No, she can fly off the handle all she wants. She won't, but she will fly off the handle when it's necessary.
When it's necessary. There it is.
That's right. And it's all right to fly off the handle when it says, and then you can look at it, but then eventually you got to let go and just go dance.
That's right. And just let it, that's right. And allow, the biggest thing is allowing for me, it's allowing myself to have all the full range of emotion and know that all of it is good. Okay.
That's
How
right.
about that?
That's
All of
right.
it is
All
good.
of it. All of it's
You
good.
know,
And like
even
you
though,
can label it. You
even
can.
though it don't feel good. Okay. Cause I'm going
That's
to tell you,
right.
it did not feel good to bring Xena up.
No.
Okay, because I felt it all in my stomach and on my side.
Hmm.
I felt it. I was like, "Ooh, boy, did I stay angry a lot before? Because this is like, ugh."
Yeah.
I was like,
And then you get to see that shit, right? Like if you
"Yes."
didn't get angry, right? Like you would not have been able to see how
How it
under the
affected my body.
influence you are.
Mhm,
I mean, I even, like I was talking to Andy the other day that, it's great being in love and all of this great beautiful stuff, but it's
mhm,
also like, like you can see when we're not talking in, like throughout a day or whatever. It's just like,
mhm.
oh, like there's this pang, right? There's this, oh,
Yeah,
like that's just interesting to experience.
mhm,
It's not good, it's not bad, it's not anything. It's like it could just be a little bit of sadness. And it's like, oh, I miss you. And like that's okay. It's okay to
mm,
miss, right? And like we were
mhm.
talking about how beautiful it is to be able to feel that and to be
Yeah,
like, like this is what's happening right now. Far out.
yeah. I'm gonna say this to you. I think you guys look so cute together.
Oh,
Oh,
yes,
they
we
so
do.
cute. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm glad you guys are doing well. And but yeah, so yeah, this was a good dial for me because it summed up everything that's taken place since the last time that's the last time I talked to you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
So yeah.
I'm glad you came up because it's always good to reconnect.
And I just happened to wake up and I did my energy work and I did my little meditation and then some said, turn on the wisdom app.
Yeah.
Before I could turn it on, you popped up. It says Martin John. Da, 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 da.
Oh,
Hey,
yeah.
I was
I
like,
wanna
okay, this is where I
All
had to
right.
go. I had it was like that's how because I have not been going on the weekends too much because I've been told to break until unless I'm inspired
Yeah, I
to,
I
and I've
actually
been coming in just in time.
I take
So
Saturday and Sunday off completely now from Wisdom app, and I it's good to have boundaries. It's good to have good mental health and make sure
yes.
that we got good balance and stuff. So
And it's bound and all of it is boundaries.
that's
All of
right.
it, all of the stuff that I've been going through has had to do with setting firm boundaries and standing up for those boundaries and not letting people violate those boundaries because before I did, I'm gonna be real, I ain't had no boundaries. I was a flowing river and you ain't put no wall around me, nothing, or I know I'm gonna say like my mama said. She said, "You are just a carpet." I thought that was some mean shit, but she wasn't lying. I just laid there. And I did whatever all my stuff I do, and he was just walking on me, and oh, that's okay. You're not supposed to get angry. Da 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 da. Because it took a long time to tame the beast. Okay, I'm gonna be real, because
Hmm.
it took a long time to tame that part of me. So when it came up, I was like, "What the hell?" But then I realized what it came up for, and it didn't come up for the same reason. It didn't come up out of fear. There was no fear involved. Okay, it was
Right.
no fear involved. It was like, wait a minute, you just said this to me. Who the hell? It was a boundary that they crossed, and they crossed it more than once. And I had already said back up. Okay, no,
Mm.
you don't do that to me. I was square off.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm thinking I could take you. And then when
That's
I
right.
reported to security, and then security says, well, that's how they talk, and in their country they do this to women. I don't give a fuck what they do to women in their country.
Uh-huh.
America right now. And I said, if you can't keep this man away from me, I will not be responsible for what happens to him if he comes bothering me again. This is your job. Because he had
That's
told
right.
me, I got your back. I got, yeah, boy, I almost said something really foul. But
Hmm.
yeah, but this showed me that no, I got my back. You
That's
ain't got
right.
my back.
And
I got my
that
back. And he had to hear, I got my back.
yeah,
Because
that's the only person you can trust with your back.
there it is. And
You know,
so,
like
so
you maybe you can allow people to have your back, but if you fall backwards,
yes.
they they ain't gotta catch you.
No, that's right. And I saw that under that circumstance right there, this person is of the masculine belief that it's okay to do and say certain things to women, and keep on saying them. Okay.
That's right. That's right.
And if the security gave him excuses, he's from that same book. So
Mm-hmm.
say F them both. Okay.
That's right. That's right. You
I
got to
hold
take
my
care of
own.
yourself.
That's why I said I had to go sit on the throne in a little dance atmosphere and sit there for a minute till I focused and centered myself, and then came back to me, and then I danced my little hour and a half and took my little happy ass home, you know. So yeah, but I love you, Martin John, and
Love you, babe.
we're gonna have to talk off of the thing because I need to talk to you. That's all.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. All right.
We'll
So
definitely.
take it
You
easy,
got
and
my number, so we'll.
yeah,
You
I
know,
do.
this week, I got some time, so I'll shoot you a text, and we'll get on a call.
Okay. All right. You take it easy,
You
and
too, babe.
wonderful 4th of July.
Oh yeah, happy
I'm gonna
Fourth.
I'm gonna do this walk, and then I'm gonna figure out where's my day because I didn't plan it. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
I don't plan
one
nothing.
step at a time.
Yeah, there it is. One step, 1,000 miles begin with one step.
That's
Okay.
right. That's right.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah,
Bye.
love you.
Love you too.
All right. Well, Lois and let me. I forget what number we covered. We covered 64, was it? Yes, we covered 64 of the Hogan. Um, so if you have a number between 1 and 81, I would love to invite you up to pick a number, and then we can talk about the Tao. The Tao Te Ching is an ancient text written about 600 BCE, if you're not familiar. It consists of 81 chapters of how to live a more reasonable life. My name is Martin John, the recovery mentor. I talk a lot about recovery. I got 21 years clean and sober. Welcome to the 4th of July. This is a drinking holiday. If you are drinking and don't really like that you're drinking, or if you ask yourself, like, do I like that I'm doing this, and come up with a clear answer of no, well, I want you to keep questioning your drinking and reach out to me if you have left drinking behind, and or even if you haven't and are really looking to recover yourself. As we read 64, I'm reminded of something I'm going to be emailing out tomorrow. This idea that if you've been wanting quiet time, and if you've been wanting less stuff in your life, then you're on a journey to recovering yourself, because that's who you are. You are that which is within the silence that is around you. You are that which is within the darkness. You are that which is without stuff. And as we have been leaning increasingly on stuff, we have been losing ourselves, and we have been falling under the influence of stuff, and falling under the influence of other things and other people. And if you've been asking yourself, hey, I just want to be quiet, and you've been finding that, if you have been finding that space of quietness more relaxing, but a little more uncomfortable, and wanting to be there, then you're on a journey to recovering yourself. And if you are, I would really I really think participating in the Tao here on Wisdom and reaching out to me could help you manage that. Her Majesty Abby, how are you, dear?
I am doing fantastic. How are you?
I am doing very well. Loving my life. Here we are on Independence Day, and I'm, like I just released an episode of my podcast about how it's impossible as an individual to be independent completely, and that is
Yes.
something that we do here in the United States. Try to achieve independence, and
Oh wow,
it's
I know,
really
right?
it's really, like as a group, we can be
Mhm.
independent, right? We can be
Yes.
independent from like the NRA people are trying to be
Mhm.
independent, but as individuals, they might be able to believe in the ideas of the group, but they can't be completely independent. So
Exactly. Sometimes, you're so right because life itself, it's not dependent.
it
Like,
is so dependent,
yes, it is,
like
sorry,
yeah.
it is dependent on everything.
Everything.
I always say,
If someone poisons the air, you
oh yeah,
can't just say I'm independent. I'm not going to be poisoned by the
right,
air. Like no, you are.
right.
That
You
is you are
are.
so dependent on that.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
say it even feels like it's life is it's almost like a present with strings attached.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The present with strings attached because, I'm living right now. The strings attached to me is me knowing that everything around me is dependent.
Yes.
So I'm connected in a way to everything with my strings.
Yes.
It gives me a gift, I give it back. I breathe in the oxygen, I give out the carbon dioxide. You
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
And that's it's so interconnected,
Yes.
like everything is so connected. and
Yes.
and we're here on our Independence Day, but we have to recognize that it was a group that gained
Mm-hmm.
independence for itself, and that
Right.
we individuals can be
Mm-hmm.
who they are, and we are individuals, we're not independent, we're
Exactly.
individuals. The group is
Yes.
independent from another group, but
Yeah.
you are an individual, and you are very dependent on everything around you. And when we can
Wow.
recognize that, and we can recognize
Mm.
that we need to work together, then we can be the individuals
Mm-hmm.
that we were born to be.
That's right. I love your brain, Martin John.
Oh,
Man, I
thank
love
you.
your brain. Yeah. My number today is number 4.
Number 4. The Tao is like a well used but never used up. It is like the eternal void filled with infinite possibilities. It is hidden but always present. I don't know who gave birth to it. It's older than God.
Mm. Wow. What do you think? Explain to me a
Um,
little deeper.
yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
I look at this, and I try and think about our dependence and our
Mm-hmm.
individuality, and
Mm-hmm.
who we are, just because that's what we were talking about. So why
Mm-hmm.
not try and use that as a way of looking at this? The Tao is like a well. You hold the
Mm-hmm.
Tao within you. It's like a well used but never used up, right? You can always dip into yourself to
Mm-hmm.
find more of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you can always
Mm-hmm.
find more. And you mentioned
Mm-hmm.
something that was really interesting about life being a gift that is also, like it's a gift and a curse kind of thing. It's like you
Mm-hmm.
never asked to be born.
Mm-mm.
You didn't ask. Like, yes, your soul probably did ask for this
Mm-hmm.
experience, and but the Tao is out here, and like you put your bucket in the well, and
Mm-hmm.
like you pull water out of it, and that's
Mm-hmm.
what we do with ourselves, like that
Yeah.
nourishment, that that life, that liquid of life is within
Mm-hmm.
us, and we constantly return to the well. We return to who we are. And
Mm-hmm.
when we gather a little bit of an identity, we have that bucket of water, we walk over and we say, hey, look at this bucket of water, look at my identity.
Mm-hmm.
And then the further we walk, the more we spill. And so we got to go back to the well, and we have to find an identity again. But the thing is telling people about that bucket, trying to define who we are as what's in that bucket,
Mm-hmm.
is so futile, because that bucket is going to be empty at some point.
Wow. Wow.
But
So it's
then we go
almost.
back to the well, and the well is who we are. It's not a part of who we are. It's not a small identity. It is who we are. So the Tao is like a well. We are like a well. Our identities are deep and profound, and they can't just be pulled up with a bucket.
Mm. Wow. Wow. So it's almost like, as humans, this universe is so vast, and we don't know the end of it.
Hmm.
However, you can try to get to the end of it, but you will always come back to center. Whatever is at the end, you can still find it in the present.
I always like looking at definitions.
Mm.
Like when you define something, when you define the universe,
Mm.
we know that there is an edge to the universe. We've
Yeah.
we've discussed that. So there's an edge to the universe. But when you try to define the universe, all you
Mm.
can define, and this is one of the Tao's talks about, the
Mm.
masters were so subtle and profound, but we can only describe how they looked. And that's what we do with the universe. We only describe how it looks. We can't understand it fully. Just like a
No.
well, you can't look down and see
Mm-hmm.
its source.
Right.
You just pull up that little bit which you can carry,
Mm.
that little bit which you can understand. So as we talk about Tao, it's like a well. We can understand it in bits, but
Yeah.
it's never used up. We can always return to it, right? We can always return to the grandeur of
Mm.
all that is, rather than just understanding it from the aspect of holding a
Mm-hmm.
bucket, a small aspect of it, because we have the depth of the Tao within us,
Mm-hmm.
but within our understanding, we only have a bucket.
Mm. Wow.
You know,
Wow.
and the next line is, it is like the eternal void filled with infinite possibilities. Let me ask you, can you
Mhm.
define eternal?
Oh boy.
Can you
I
define infinite? Right? Both
know.
of those words we can
Yeah.
define within a box of our own
Yeah.
understanding.
Yes.
It is like the eternal void. Once we reference eternal, it
Mm.
is it is held in the definition that we hold for
Right.
eternal, which is within the bucket of our understanding,
Mm-hmm.
filled with infinite possibilities. We know what possibilities are. We understand infinite, but we
Infinite.
only understand infinite in the
Mm.
finite way that our brains can understand it.
Yeah. 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 And sometimes when you try to define something, you just mess it up.
That's right. Like I tell people all the time,
Mm-hmm.
like if you answer the question "I am" with anything other than a period, then you are limiting yourself. I don't care
Right.
if you have a million-page book with words that finish "I am," you are still limited.
Yeah.
When you can just say "I am,"
Mm.
then at least you have gotten rid of the box of anything that can follow that.
Yeah, I think as human beings, and I can only speak for human beings because that's who I am, unless I tell you I'm an alien. As
And right,
human
and I
beings,
will say, as human beings in this moment in time, because
as,
you are only a human being in this moment in time. A human being 100 years ago may have had a very different experience than you
right,
are. We
right,
can't know that.
yeah. So as human being in this present time, in this moment, I realize that we feel comfortable when mm, almost like we feel comfortable in a containment. You know,
Yes. Yeah.
as a baby in the womb, the baby feels so comfortable in that containment,
Hmm.
knowing that, I probably know my surroundings as to
Right.
where I am right now. As of
Hmm.
whatever is going on in my mother's belly and head and everything, I don't really know. All I know is that I'm getting the source. So as we come out, I feel like we tend to contain ourselves, in sense that, okay, I have this thoughts that I'm using to protect myself to survive. However, there is this vast source out there, which, we almost limit ourselves by containing ourselves, but that's what we know. That's how we
Well,
feel comfortable.
this is the ultimate, feminine, masculine back and forth. Yes,
Hmm.
we are the ultimate feminine, which is at the core of all things and needs no thing in order to
Mm.
exist. That is Tao. Tao is the eternal void.
Mm-hmm.
The edge of the universe is the first masculine. That
Mm.
then contains the Tao so that things can exist.
Mm. Wow.
Our experience, right? Like we have this experience of our bodies, the edge of our
Mm-hmm.
bodies. That is the masculine that holds the consciousness of the Tao within it, within us. That is endless. That is part of the infinite
Wow.
void, the eternal void. We are part of that. But if we were to try to grasp the eternal
Mm.
void with our puny little minds, we would we would be
Limits.
we would just go crazy because our brain is held within a boundary. Our brains, our bodies, we are so those boundaries, those masculine things, and we've done that with laws, and we've done
Mm-hmm.
that with borders, and we've done that with everything that we do is built on this structure, is built on some structure, some routine, some something that makes it easy to grasp. Because if every day had no boundary, like you didn't have a wall,
Mm-hmm.
you just had space, and I was homeless for a time, so I know that when you're homeless and you wake up with no boundary,
Mm-hmm.
then you know that like you know the feeling of energy dispersing in a way that you don't have control over, and as that energy disperses, it can drive you crazy.
Yeah. So I think what you're saying is that our personality feels comfortable in knowing, when something has a boundary, it becomes physical.
Right.
It becomes something you can see.
Yes.
And when you tend to live in your personality, you feel like you're more comfortable knowing that this exists. This
Right.
has a boundary that exists. I
There
see
is a
this. I,
boundary. Yes.
yes. But then when you go live in your spirit, you realize that it's boundless.
Boundless. And you can't, and living in the boundless is not something we can
Mhm.
comprehend.
Yeah, scary.
Yeah, it's very scary. I was in that dark retreat, and the dark retreat, like even though I was in a small space, the
Mm,
space was huge,
mm,
because the space was internal, not external. you
wow.
know you know
Wow.
and in here, like this number 4 wraps up and it says it is hidden but always present, right? It is hidden within the boundary. Like
Mm-hmm.
that eternal void is hidden within you.
Mm, wow.
And and that is the thing that is everywhere. That is the same as what is within a tree, what is within the air, what is within the
Mm-hmm.
plants, what is within the earth.
Mm,
And then it wraps up with, I don't know who gave birth to it. It is older
yeah.
than God. Even God, and when I talk about God as that masculine sort of
Mm-hmm.
Christian,
Mm-hmm.
God, I always look at that as being, well, that's the boundary.
Mm-hmm.
God is the boundary of the Tao that we can box the eternal
Mm.
into.
And how some people also define God as being here and being nowhere, being
Right.
everywhere and nowhere at the same time.
Yes.
Wow.
But the
Wow.
understanding of God is
Mm,
still that boundary
yes.
that we can comprehend,
Yeah.
because the Tao can't be comprehended. It has no
Yeah.
bound. It
So
is the
we tend
ultimate
to,
feminine.
yeah. So we tend to, for us to understand things, which usually.
I want you to come back up and land that, because that's beautiful. I think this is moving in a really beautiful place. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks for having me back. So in a sense, as human in this present moment, for me, or to grasp something, I almost have to put it in a boundary
In
to be
order
able
to
to
grasp it,
understand.
you have to
Yeah.
put you and you do that naturally because you are within the boundary. Like that is like
Mm,
you have to work at taking things out of the boundary. You have
Mm.
to work at taking things out of the box because we understand a dog is a dog, but it's not
Mm-hmm.
a dog. It is us. It
Yeah.
is the Tao. It is all things. And yes, we can say, oh, yes, there is God in the dog. But
Mm.
that is now two boxes. That is the understanding of God and the understanding of a dog. But it is neither. It is not a dog. It is Tao. And it is
Mm.
Tao, and its manifestation is the
Mm.
boundary. And
Mm.
once we separate that, once we see something as particular,
Mm.
there's an interesting, I'm going to see if I can find the word
Mm.
particular. So it is in one, it is in the first verse. The
Mm.
unnameable is the eternally real. If you
Mm.
cannot name it, then it is the real thing. Naming is the origin of all particular things. Once you've named something
Mhm.
as once you name something as dog, or once you name something as cat, or once you name something as person or whatever, you
Mhm.
immediately put it into a box. That is when things start to become particular. When you say,
Mm.
oh, here is the air, but you don't but you and you distinguish, pardon me, you distinguish the difference between air and a brick. Once you see the difference between those two,
Mm.
you have lost the eternally real.
Wow, 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 wow. As you're talking, this is what I was thinking. Originally I'm from Ghana, and whenever a baby is born, um, first 7 days, the baby's not named
Yes, beautiful.
because they consider that as the soul that is trying to see if it's going to stay or not. So after 7 days, then we name the baby.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes. So as you were saying, when you name it, it's almost like, okay, I'm putting it right here in the cage, right in the cage to
Yeah,
study it. Yeah. Wow. So can you imagine when you can get to a state where you don't need to do that anymore? You just need to exist
that's right.
with the boundless.
And that's the thing. Like if you can even just dip into that and just say every now and again,
Mm-hmm.
this is no different than me. This is me. Like I when I take walks sometimes, I look at
Mm-hmm.
trees and I goes, that is me.
Mm-hmm.
Just to keep remembering that I
Mm-hmm.
am not bound to this body.
Hmm.
I am
Oh.
not bound to an understanding that
Mm-hmm.
these things are in boxes. It's not in a box.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing is in a box,
Mm-hmm.
and I went back to one for that, for just to remind us, because as we go through this four, it is hidden but always present. I don't know who gave birth to it. It's older than God, and we start to look at the fact that everything is. It is, everything has Tao in it, and it isn't God as a boundary or dog
Mm-hmm.
as a boundary or me as a boundary, because it is the unnameable that
Mm-hmm.
is the eternally real. That is what Tao is. Naming is the origin of all particular things.
Mm-hmm.
Once you start to name things, once you start to distinguish one thing from another, you are embracing separateness.
Mm. Sounds like air.
Yeah,
Sounds like air. How do you define air?
right. It's like, how can you point it out?
Right?
And how do you know it's there, right? Like you can
Yeah.
you can create a vacuum,
Yeah.
and in that vacuum you can smash particles.
Right.
It's so beautiful, right?
That's
Like
it is
all of this.
beautiful and crazy at the same time.
Right, absolutely. And this is why we talk about it as unfathomable, right? You
Yeah.
can't you can't understand it, so don't try.
I'll try.
Too many people try to understand this,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we try to understand it with words like eternal and infinite, but those words don't mean anything. Those words
Mm-hmm.
are something. Those are something that we can't understand.
Yeah. That's
That
that's
we, within our boundary,
Mhm.
because our species had to go out and name things. I don't know, like
Mhm.
I am under the impression, like just as I kind of look at the world, that the frontal lobe will start to develop in all mammals, and
Mhm.
those mammals will start to name things and distinguish things. But when I was a kid, like, you can recognize an individual, not its separateness, but its
Mhm.
connectedness. And I want us to go back to that. I want humans to go back to a place where we're not
Mhm.
distinguishing separateness, but
Right.
we're understanding how we are all the same.
Wow. See, when I usually like to form images in my brain, and that's what usually makes me understand things. And as you're speaking, I was like, okay, so it almost like going to a buffet. We came to a buffet, okay,
Mm-hmm.
but then we have all these little bowls, and we dish it out and put it in there and consume it. Keep dishing it out, like an endless buffet.
Mm-hmm.
So for us, we just dish it out. And depending on how big your plate is, maybe you get to a point where you realize that I don't even need a plate after all.
Yes.
I can just eat it and be.
Yeah. And just be. And I don't have to, like, when we can understand that we
Mhm.
don't, like, just because the buffet is full,
Mhm.
has 108 dishes,
Mhm.
we don't have to eat them all.
Right.
We can leave things unknown
Yes.
because
Wow.
that pizza's probably not that good anyway. We don't need the answer. We can just be here and say, you know what? I know that's there, and
Yeah.
I'm so glad it's there. So when somebody wants that, you know,
Mhm.
they can have it. And I want
Right.
them to have it.
Mhm.
I just don't need to have it.
Right.
And I don't need to understand it. I
Yeah.
can just let it be.
Because you can't consume it all. Like it's so
That's right.
vast. You can't.
You can't.
Can't.
You can't consume it all. You
Mm.
can't. You, your current experience can only understand. It can only consume so much.
Mhm. To meet your needs.
Yes.
Even if it's water, you just want to go for the water and just drink it and see how it comes next. You
Yeah.
just don't want to. Oh God! Wow, Martin John, you're so smart.
Thank you so much. It
Yeah,
was wonderful. It's always wonderful to engage
yeah.
with you here on Tao of the Day. I'm so appreciative.
I love talking to you. You have a wonderful rest of your day.
You as well.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. What a beautiful morning. We talked with Alois and 64 and Abby with number 4. Today is July 4th. So, you know, interestingly, Lois didn't have a number, but I said 64, and I realized that, oh, wait, actually, I should have picked 74 because that would have been 7-4. I always think that's 6-4 because of June, because June's my birthday month. But no, I didn't. We did 64 and 4, both of which had 4 in it. Today is the 4th of July, as we were talking earlier. This is about Independence Day. I want you guys to go out there and enjoy the independence that our group made, and to recognize that you as an individual are not, nor should you try to attempt to be completely independent. You are an individual. You are beautiful as you are, and the independence that we gained from the Brits made it possible for us to be as individual as we can be, not independent. We are dependent on our neighbors. We're dependent on the government. We're dependent on the financial system. We're dependent on animals. We're dependent on air. We're dependent on the plants. We're dependent on so many things. I want you to recognize that it is not independence that we are looking for, but is our individuality that we as individuals are looking for. And when we do that, when we find that, that's when we're free. That's when we as individuals are free. We want to start with a free group and then build ourselves as free individuals. Thank you so much for joining me for Tao of the Day. We talked a lot about the void. We talked a lot about the edge today, and I want you guys to to understand that you see yourself in a box. We all do. We can't not. And yet, that box still doesn't exist. So, if you're interested in recovering yourself, if you're interested in talking to me about the work that I do, definitely reach out to me on Instagram. I have links out there in my profile here on Wisdom. I appreciate it if you're listening to this on Spotify. Thank you for listening. And until next time, keep recovering yourself.